Hey, Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Disastrous2567 and says, am I the arsehole for not helping a woman who had a baby with my ex-husband get survivor's benefits? My 43 ex-husband, Duke, 54, and I divorced because he habitually cheated on me. We were divorced a little over 2 years when he died in a motorcycle accident. I paid for his funeral because of my daughter, 15, and despite everything, he was her father, and I didn't want the state to bury him. That was 4 months ago, and my daughter is doing well. I applied for survivor's benefits for her shortly after his funeral, and have been receiving monthly payments. Yesterday, I received a phone call from my caseworker at the Social Security office informing me that a woman called claiming that she had a 3-year-old son by my ex-husband. However, the woman had no proof the boy is actually my ex-husband, not signed birth certificate or DNA test. The caseworker asked me if I'd be willing to allow my daughter to do a DNA test to prove this child's paternity. I refused. I did the math, and this child was definitely conceived while I was still married to my ex. Furthermore, at the time of conception, I'd gone through a very traumatic hysterectomy with major setbacks that nearly killed me. I suspect I know who this woman is, and she definitely knew my ex-husband and I were still married. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing by refusing, but I was humiliated enough by my ex when he was alive, and I feel even more embarrassed now. Edit. I wrote this over a year ago when I first found out about the situation. Tried to post it in another group, but it wouldn't let me. I'm posting here now because I came across it in my posting history and really wanted to know what others think. Thanks in advance for any help you can suggest. And a lot of people in this one were just questioning why this woman waited 3 years to try and claim these benefits, but OP came in with an update and said, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their comments and advice. As I stated in my edit on the original post, this happened over a year ago, and for whatever reason I wasn't allowed to post it on the thread I originally tried to. Now to the update. About a month after I found out about this little boy, I did indeed tell my daughter, who is now 17 by the way. She was shocked, as you can imagine, and very hurt by her dad's actions. I explained to her the full situation, and she didn't want to do it then. She said she needed time, so that's what I gave her. Incidentally, she's been in therapy since before, during, and after the divorce. Her father and her were never close because he has a kids are to be seen and not heard mentality, which caused a lot of problems, even when we were still together. The woman who had an affair with my husband was a work colleague / friend. We all worked together at the same place. We both still work there, just in different areas. After I got the call from my caseworker, several mutual acquaintances approached me and told me that she wanted to sit down and talk with me about her problem. I thought about that for a few days and ultimately decided to meet up with her. We met at a coffee shop by our job on Saturday. She told me that she and my ex started out as friends at first. He would give her advice on how to deal with her other 2 kids' dad. She said very quickly it turned into flirting and hanging out and eventually a full-on affair. By this time he's telling her that I was getting suspicious that something was going on and she was already pregnant. She told him about the pregnancy and he told her he wouldn't be leaving me, but he would assist her with whatever the child needed. She was hurt and angry but stuck with the situation as she was already struggling with the 2 kids she had and needed the help. She went on to say that he was very much in love with me and that she was jealous of me for having him. Not one time was this woman remorseful. No apologies, nothing. I asked her, did she even care what their affair did to my daughter? And she replied no, because she had enough on her plate dealing with her own children and quite frankly didn't care about mine. That's word for word, by the way. At this point I told her that I have informed my daughter about her son and she is currently not interested in participating in this scenario. She got outraged by telling me that I have to make my daughter do this, that she is only part-time at our job and her and her kids cannot survive on her income alone. I told her she was a bitch, that even if she felt a little bit of guilt, I might have been able to talk my daughter around, but a lack of respect for my daughter's feelings is why I won't. I left her there yelling at me as I walked away to my car. She has since quit working at our job. Over the past year I have addressed the situation with my daughter and she still doesn't want to do it. I told her it's her decision either way and I support what she wants. My ex's parents are both deceased and his one sister is dead. He has an older brother, but they hadn't communicated in decades because of the brother's drug issues. I tried to find out about him when my ex died, but I couldn't find anything. My ex was dead 2 full days before the police finally got in contact with me. It was a shock. I never hated him. I hated what he did. There is a difference. I guess that's the update. If there are any questions you guys would like me to answer, I'll be around. Feel free to ask. Thank you for your time and stay blessed. And one of the top comments on that post, we have another update by the way, which says, Opie says, don't you even care what the affair did to my daughter? Not to mention the marriage. Affair partner says, no, I had enough on my plate with my own kids and frankly I didn't care about yours. Opie replies, fine. My daughter has no interest in this time doing a DNA test to match your son. The affair partner says, you have to make her. I'm part-time, my kids cannot survive on my pay alone, and your response should be, the commenter says, I have enough on my plate with my own kid right now, and frankly, don't care about yours. And I very much felt like a lot of the comments, it's your daughter's decision in the end. It's her DNA, and the kind of attitude that she doesn't give a shit about you or your daughter in this, is just red flags all over really, isn't it? And of course, I do feel for the children in this as well, because they are the innocent party, they haven't done nothing wrong. But I don't blame you for your stand on this either. OP comes in with another update and says, okay, this has really blown up. Once again, I thank everyone who took the time to leave a comment. There are a lot of questions and assumptions. I will do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. First of all, let me say I did not hate my husband. Hell, I don't even hate his affair partner. For those who think I'm trying to get some half-ass revenge on a toddler, let me just say you're insane to feel that way. In the moment when this all happened, I was in shock and total disbelief. I reacted without any real thought. I challenge anyone on here to say they haven't responded angrily with unwanted and unexpected news. However, I am not a person who does not think of consequences to my actions, and that is why I sat down, calmed down, and figured out how to proceed. I talked to both my mum and my brothers before I talked to my daughter. They were also shocked but urged me to talk to my daughter and get her input on the situation. As I said in my first update, my daughter has been in therapy before, during, and still after the divorce. I suggested to her to talk to her therapist about this. She did. Based on my daughter's feelings of being adamantly opposed to being involved, the therapist suggested I give her time, and I have. My daughter is a sweetheart, and I'm not saying this about her because she's mine, but it has been a lot for her to deal with at one time. I'm sure in the end she will change her mind, but I refuse to bully her into it. It has to be 100% her decision. Some of you think I hate my ex-husband and I'm using this situation to get back at him. I do not. I hated what he did, that is all. My ex and I talked at least twice a week. We had disagreements, sure, like other people. I wished he would have told me honestly. The affair had long been out the bag. I'm not going to say I would have enjoyed hearing it, but at least we would have known. See, we're too busy living and oftentimes we subconsciously think everything will work out for the best. It never goes that way though, does it? If he would have told us, we could have long got over any shock or hurt or resentment, and possibly the kids could have long ago met each other. I would have known about the boy and we would have all been better prepared when he died. Who knows? But I'm no longer angry or hurt. Please believe me when I tell you that I want an amicable solution to this as much as you do. That day in the coffee shop with her, I once again reacted, but I'm humans with feelings and emotions just like all of you. My ex-husband had no one else but us. As I said, he has a brother who's on drugs, who I spent weeks trying to locate and I couldn't. I would never have let him be buried by the state because at the end of the day, we still loved him. I was married to him for 17 years for fuck's sake. I was trying to find other takes that other people have had for OP to be explaining themselves like this because I don't think they're in the wrong for their decisions here. This is their daughter's decision in the end, and I don't think she should be pressured into doing it either. And like I said, of course, I feel for the kids, but this isn't your daughter's responsibility. And that was OP's last post on the matter. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story does have an update as well. It's from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Specialist P2618 and says, am I the arsehole for having my wife's missing ring replicated without her knowledge? A few months ago, my male 44 wife, female 43, lost a ring given to her by a late grandmother. My wife was really close to her grandmother, so needless to say, the ring held significant sentimental value for her. Also, given that her grandmother died last year, it was a particularly painful blow. We searched high and low but never found it. After it was missing for about a month and my wife started losing hope, I decided that I'd have the ring replicated. We did have quite a few pictures of the ring, so I thought it could potentially be done. I did suggest the idea to my wife, but she did seem very receptive to it. She said along the lines of how it couldn't be done, but she didn't seem very receptive to it. She said along the lines of how it couldn't be done and how it wouldn't be a replacement for the one her grandmother gave her. However, she didn't expressly say she would not allow me to replicate it. I ended up taking the pictures to a jeweler and described the piece to the best of my abilities. 2 months and 9k later, the ring was ready. I will admit that I kept all of this a secret from my wife, and the day it was ready, I cancelled work to pick it up and placed it between 2 sofa cushions that my wife usually sits around. I didn't want to present her with the ring, as I thought she wouldn't like it, based on our conversation earlier. Fast forward a few days and my wife finds the ring. She's overjoyed, happier than I've seen her in a long time. I congratulated her on finding it and thought that was that. Recently, my wife started questioning the ring. For the past few weeks, she's been telling me things like how it feels a bit different. Today, when I got back from work, my wife started asking me about the ring. She was saying things like how it felt different and how it looked different. I'll save you most of the details, but in summary, after about 5 minutes of grilling me, I confessed about having the ring replicated. To say she was furious would be an understatement. Basically, she yelled at me for being dishonest, claimed like being married to her was charity, and also said that I had insulted her intelligence and embarrassed her in front of her friends and family, as she told them all she found the ring. I apologized and told her that I didn't want to see her depressed, but she refused to listen. She ended up locking herself in our bedroom. I tried apologizing again, but all she did was slide the ring under the door towards me. All this just made me confused and conflicted about the entire situation. Am I the arsehole for getting her ring replaced? I think you should have kind of listened to the signals very early in your story where she didn't seem very receptive to it about how it couldn't be done and it wouldn't be a replacement for the one her grandmother gave her. And come on now. The reason for that is because it's not just about the ring, it's the sentimentality around the ring. It's the memories and the feelings you get while having that piece because it was from your grandmother. A new one isn't from a grandmother. It doesn't have all that stuff wrapped around it. And it's one of those situations that should have been just really discussed and said, is there any way that I can replicate it for you? If the answer is no, absolutely do not do it. A bit of a similar situation myself. A couple of years back when we lost a family member, and another one of my family members was willed like this butterfly with a stone in the middle, or it's a mineral called Blue John. You can only find it in like one place in the world apparently, which is the Cave of Castleton in Derbyshire in the Peak District. And this stuff, I think it must be pretty fragile because when they received it, the stone was crumbling and unfortunately falling apart, so they didn't want to wear it. It was a butterfly with the stone in the middle. So ideas were flying around in my head. Could I send it off? Could I potentially get this stone replaced? Could I do it secretly? And I thought, oh, that's not a good idea because, you know, that stone was from that person. It might hold memories. They might not be able to wear the necklace again, but they might want to cherish it in a different way. So I did speak to them and I said, would you mind if I got the stone replaced, etc., etc.? And they were super receptive about it. They wanted it done. So I emailed these people at the, I just looked up on Google the Blue John Cavern and I found this website where they were selling jewelry, and I emailed them and I said, is it possible to make a custom stone to fit this? And they said, oh yeah, just send us this butterfly and we'll get one fitted. And it was like, what? And it was fairly cheap for them to do this. And I was just blown away by that support from them at the same time. So shout out to them at the Blue John Cavern, by the way. And the family member was absolutely made up by it as well, which was lovely to see. But I could see them, like, if I just replaced it secretly, I could see why they may potentially be upset, right? But in the comments, Kerr says, you're the arsehole, but let me explain. When your wife found the ring, she didn't just find a lump of metal and rock. She found a lost connection to her grandmother. She found memories and love. And when she found out the ring was a replica, she lost her grandmother again. She lost those memories and that connection. She's been hit by a wall of grief all over again. But this time, you're to blame. Your heart was absolutely in the right place, but you really messed up. Apologize to her for causing pain and suggest that maybe the ring can be a new heirloom for you both to attach your own memories to, but also in honor of her grandmother. It can never be the original, and you were wrong to pretend it could, but you hope that maybe it can be a link to those memories and ones that you will create together. And if you lied about the 9k you spent in secret, you're in even more trouble. To which OP did reply, and they said that OP will apologize, but as for the money, it was out of their own personal account rather than the shared one. Jim Bob says, you're the arsehole and doubly so. 1, for lying. 2, for how you thought it would play out in any other way. It could have been a really nice gesture. A new ring and a card saying how it can't replace the old ring. Let's start a new tradition with this one, or something like that. Better start apologizing. Rohini Ramble says, you're the arsehole. You might want to stop saying you didn't explicitly say no. You know that is what she meant. You know she didn't want it replicated, so stop with the technically she didn't say no. That's insulting her and her intelligence, and it shows that you think your opinion matters more and is more right than hers. Apologize without justifying it. Admit it was a stupid move on your part and that you didn't mean to hurt her and you never wanted to undermine her or make her feel unheard or disrespected. So OP does come in with her update and says, "So it's been a few days since I last posted and I'd like to provide an update on what's been happening. But before that, I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to respond to the original post. Your insights were incredibly valuable in helping me navigate the situation. As expected, I did end up spending a few nights sleeping on the couch. My wife was very angry with me, so I kept my distance and allowed her time to cool off. During this time, I've been keeping the replacement ring with me, as I didn't think my wife would even want to see it. My youngest asked me why I was sleeping on the couch the other night, and I told him that it was good for his old man's back. It's another lie, but I didn't feel too bad going ahead with it. Tuesday night, after the kids went to bed, I apologized profusely for the entire situation. I told her there was zero justification for what I did and I should have listened to her rather than tried to replace the ring. I told her that what I did was unbelievably foolish and inconsiderate, and then I offered to explain to her family and friends the situation if they were to ask about it. We did end up talking for a long time, and she told me that it was very difficult to describe how she felt about my actions. On the one hand, she was very frustrated that I thought I could just replace the ring, yet on the other hand, she was a bit amused that I'd go to such lengths and she appreciates that aspect. She ended up re-accepting the ring, and I was allowed back into our bedroom. Things do seem to be slowly returning to normal, but if there's one thing I've learned about married life, it's that this conversation will probably be revisited a few more times in the future, and they will likely make my wife upset again. For that reason, I've decided to buy my wife a necklace, which I'll surprise her with in a few days. Oh boy, I'm thinking that this will hopefully soften her anger if this conversation ever comes up again. Oh, brother. Now I know the necklace might be a nice thing, but my heart started beating really fast when OP said, "I'll surprise her in a few days with a new necklace." I'm like, oh my god, not more jewelry. Holy moly. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love. Holy moly again.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, drink some water, brush my teeth, get out of bed and I stretch. Bet that my hair is a mess. Look through my clothes for a fit. Anything I do is drip. Feel like a kid when I'm tick-tocking, I still keep it real as it is. I show my age, I don't switch.